In lesson 5.4, we're going to work with adding mixed numbers. Go ahead and get your whiteboard marker, and remember, we're working math journal 2 now. Let's go ahead and start with a math warm-up. Here are 3 fractions. What I'd like for you to do on your whiteboard is go ahead and represent or write the fractions as decimals. Let me do the first one for you. 1/10 would look like that. Why don't you go ahead and write down 3/10 as a decimal and 9/10. Go ahead. Three tenths would look like this, and 9/10 like this. Go ahead and erase your whiteboard. Now, we have what are called mixed numbers. A mixed number is a whole number plus a fraction. So let me show you the first one and see if you can do the next 2 on your own. So number 1 there, the first one says 2 13/100. Did you hear me say the word and? 2 13/100. Whenever you hear the word and, you're going to put a decimal point. So the very first one would be 2 13/100. Would you try the next 2? 9 56/100 and 12 87/100. Go ahead and write those on your whiteboard. Number 2, or the second one, 9 56/100. 12 87/100. Let's go look and see why we might use fractions and mixed numbers. So here we go. Sometimes you might find a sale at Burnsville Center or somewhere downtown Northfield, a half-price sale. Or gas. If you ever look at gas, now these are very high prices, but do you see that fraction? Take a look at a gas station next time. They're always fractions. Or if I'm making some sugar cookies, maybe for an upcoming birthday party, I might use a half a cup of butter or 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour. Let's go ahead and take a look at some mixed numbers. This is not in your math journal yet, so we're still using just our whiteboards. The cafeteria had 2 3/5 tubs of grape jelly and 1 1/5 tubs of strawberry jelly set aside for breakfast. How many tubs of jelly were there in all? On your whiteboard, would you go ahead and write 2 3/5 plus 1 1/5. When adding mixed numbers, the first thing that we're going to do is just recognize that the denominators are the same. We call those like denominators. So all we need to do here is go ahead and add the whole numbers. 2 plus 1 is 3. Fifths stays the same. And then we go ahead and add the numerators. 3 plus 1 is 4. 3 4/5 tubs of jelly. The second one, Sophie works at the deli counter at the supermarket. She sliced 1 3/8 pounds of ham and then stopped to help a customer. When she was done, she sliced another 2 7/8 pounds. How many pounds of ham did she slice in all? So we're looking at in all means we're going to add. So on your whiteboard, would you please write 1 3/8 plus 2 7/8. The first thing I noticed that the denominators are the same. We call those like denominators. So we're going to keep that ace. Let's go ahead and add 2 plus 1 is 3. Then we just add the numerator since we have like denominators, and 7 plus 3 is 10. Now notice that numerator, the top number, is larger than the denominator. Well, we don't typically leave those that way. You could in this particular case, But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 8/8 from that and equal 1 whole. So there's 4, and after I take away 8 from that, there's 2 left. So in other words, we could call that 4 2/8 pounds of ham. Whoops, sorry, that jumped right to the next page when I got in the corner there. Go ahead and erase your whiteboard. We're going to go ahead and move into our math journal. Again, we're on lesson 5-4 in math journal number 2, and you're going to turn to page 162. 162. Adding mixed numbers. They all will have like denominators, so we won't have to worry about changing anything with the denominators. So solve the number stories. Use a different strategy for each one. Balaram drew a line segment 2 1/4 inches long. Then he made a line segment 1 2/4 inches longer. How long is the line segment now? So we're going to combine or add. Here's one way. I'm going to go ahead and fill in the whole box. The whole box is referring to 1 inch. So fill that in. Done with that. Now I'm going to go ahead and write the number model using mixed numbers. 2 1/4. Fill this in as we go in your math journal, plus the additional 1 2/4 of an inch. And when we put an unknown, we put it what's called a variable. It's a lowercase letter of the alphabet. Doesn't matter which one it is, but I'm going to put, how about I for inch? One way I could solve this, well, if I were going to draw, let me imagine drawing a ruler. Can you draw a ruler in your blank space? Let's go ahead and just mark this off as 0 inches. Let's make this 1 inch, 2 inches, 3 inches, and then this end would be 4. Maybe it's just a shortened ruler if you've ever seen those smaller rulers. And then if I were to go ahead and divide, notice that it's in fourths. So if I divide each section into 4 equal parts, 1, 2, 3, 4, and do that again. 1 equal parts, 2 equal parts, 3 equal parts, and the whole. 1 equal part, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and then whoops, I didn't do that one very well, but you get the idea. So let's go ahead and put down where 2 1/4 would be. Here's 2 1/4. Let's put that right there. And then, so this is how far he drew it so far. Then we're going to add on another 1 2/4. So if I add on 1 more, that would be, we're at 2 1/4 now. 1 whole inch on that would be 3 1/4. And then another 1/2 inch or 2/4. Another 1/4 and 2/4. I would end up right here. And that's at 3 1/4, 3 2/4, 3 3/4. So the answer, you have a line down there. Let me go to the next page. Is 3 3/4. Unit means, what are they measuring in this case? Inches. So again, remember, if you need to pause the video because I did do a lot of drawing here, go ahead and do that. Number 2, 3 softball players brought water for the team practice. Jillian brought 2 1/3 gallon. Saria brought 1 2/3 gallon, and Aaliyah brought 2 2/3. How much water did the softball team have for their practice? So this is all being measured in terms of gallons. So the whole would be 1 gallon. And then a number model with the unknown. Well, we're actually adding together 3 mixed numbers. Remember, a mixed number is a whole number plus a fraction. So let's start with 2 1/3 plus 1 2/3 plus 2 2/3. With the unknown, I'm going to put G for gallon. Well, one of the ways that I could do it is I could draw pictures to represent each of the players. So let's go ahead and fill in for Jillian. So this would be Jillian. So Jillian, remember each one is in thirds, because if you look at the denominator, it tells you each gallon is divided into thirds. So if you just divide those into thirds, this is Jillian. And she brought 2 full gallons plus 1/3 of another one. Plus Saria, I'm not sure how to say that, brought 1 2/3, so more than 1 but less than 2. So she brought 1 whole gallon plus 2/3 of the next, and that is Saria. And lastly, Aaliyah brought 2 2/3, so it's more than 2 but less than 3. Again, each denominator tells us that the gallon was divided into thirds. So she wrote 2 and then 2/3 of another one. So if I count those all together, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 full ones. This one plus this one equals 6 together. That leaves me 6 2/3 more. So the answer would be 6 2/3 gallons. One more problem. One more section. The last ones are not word problems. You are just going to show your work. So we're just going to go ahead and add those. We're going to remember the denominator will always be 6 in this problem. 3 plus 3 is 6, and 2 plus 2 is 4. But if you ate 6/6 of the pizza, you would have eaten the whole one. So 4 and 6/6 is the same as 5. Moving over to number 4. Our denominator is going to stay 100. We're not changing that. 50 plus 75. If you need to do the math over here, you can always work over on the side of your journal. Is 125 hundredths. And 4 and 3 is 7. But again, that top number, that numerator is larger, so I'm going to subtract 100 from it. I'm going to take 100 hundredths of that and add it to the whole number 7 to get 8, and then I have 25 hundredths left. Number 5. Doesn't matter if I'm going vertically or horizontally. I'm still going to add the same way. I keep twelfths the same. 5 plus 6 is 11, and then I go ahead and add the whole numbers. 1 plus 2 is 3. 3 and 11 twelfths. And lastly, tenths will remain the same. I'm going to go ahead and add 4 and 2, which is 6, plus 8 is 14, and then add together the 3 whole numbers. 5 and 3 is 8. 8 plus 4 is 12. Now again, that 14 tenths, we probably want to change that. And if I subtract 10 tenths from that, if I ate 10 tenths of a pizza, that would be the whole thing. So add that whole one onto the 12, and I'd be left with 13 and 4 tenths. Go ahead and check your Schoology folder and see what else you have to do for today.